This really is a space to try and have as many in-depth conversations to find you as much support as possible. Good morning, everyone. It's Ray from the Teach Better team, and I am so thrilled that we are actually here this morning for our daily drop-in. I know that Jeff and Chad kind of kicked us off yesterday as we decided that we wanted to help educators in this group, educators in the Teach Better network, and the Teach Better family kind of all come together, share their resources, and get good things going with good discussion. So Jeff and Chad did a great job yesterday kind of sharing how we're doing our daily drop-in. And a little fun, we are not only using these for great discussion in our private Facebook group, but if you're listening right now after the recording on Teach Better Talk podcast, then you can also listen there. And then, surprise this morning, we are streaming on Instagram just for fun to try and kind of share the conversation as many places as possible. After our recording, we are sharing these on all social platforms. So whether you're listening on the podcast or Instagram or Twitter, if you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, you're obviously going to get kind of all this stuff. But if you're participating with us live right now, good morning. I love all these comments. Jeff is already in here, Jeff Gargas, saying good morning. How are you, Jeff Gargas? Tell me about your morning. I did make coffee before we started, so I am very glad. And it looks like Caitlin Giordano's in here too. Caitlin will be joining us for a lot of support, not only in our group, but geez, with everything that we're doing at theteachbetter.com. I feel like there's just a ton. So good morning. As you guys are popping into the live video, I thought that I would give you a few reminders. Maybe this is your first time joining us for our daily drop-in, or maybe you are an old timer and you've done this twice before because this is our second one. But I thought I'd give you some updates, and then we'll be taking questions and talking about anything you guys want for this time. This is strategically designed to just have us be available, accessible, and just a part of the fun. Good morning, Penny. Oh, it's so fun to see everybody popping in here. Good morning, good morning. And Caitlin, actually, before I get into all the things we're doing, Caitlin is going to kick us off by sharing this morning. Her comment says, first supportive blog posted this morning by Suzanne Daly. And oh my gosh, Suzanne Daly is such a wonderful member of our Teach Better network. I'm so thrilled that she started being a guest blogger with us. And her blog this morning that posted I know is good because I got to preview it yesterday, so it's super fun. So if you're new to the Teach Better family, I'll let you know that we have a ton going on for the Teach Better team, trying to support the educators that are currently dabbling with new challenges. It seems like all over the world with the coronavirus, we are just seeing new hurdles pop up at seemingly every single hour. And with every school, every district, every teacher kind of experiencing different things right now, we wanted to try and provide as many outlets as possible to help you be successful. So actually, Jeff, Chad, and I from the Teach Better team got together this weekend, and we tried to brainstorm as many shifts and supports as possible that we can provide you in our network. But we also are keeping all the other amazing things the same, because those are supports that we already have in place that we know that a lot of you take advantage of. So as you guys are popping in, I love that you are commenting. So fun. Good morning, Adam. Megan's here. Joe, I loved your video yesterday, by the way. Nikki, good morning. I love it. Newbie, so fun. And then Kimberly, great to see you. So for those of you listening right now on Teach Better Talk podcast, you obviously know that we are publishing these daily drop-ins that we are doing in our private Facebook group. And after our recording is finished, we're actually publishing these as additional episodes in our podcast. So you might get 1 or 2 episodes a day over at Teach Better Talk podcast right now, which you can subscribe to literally on any podcasting platform that we have. A lot of our episodes are usually interviews of amazing educators around the world, but these will be special bonus episodes to make sure that all of our network continues to be supported. We'll also be sharing these videos afterwards on Instagram and Twitter and up on our YouTube page and all the places. But the only place you can actually participate is in our private Facebook group. So that's a great spot to kind of hang out with a bunch of cool educators. Additionally, as Caitlin noted, we have shifted a lot of our blog content to support educators that are currently struggling to support their students. A lot of students are not in classrooms right now. A lot of teachers are being required to use distance learning or e-learning or virtual learning. I feel like all these different buzzwords that are going on right now to find ways to support teachers, or to support our students. And so a lot of our blog content is shifting to not only support educators in the classroom who are, finding these ways to support their students from the variety of different capacities that we have access to technology and discussions about equity, but we're also supporting our administrators who are now striving to manage buildings that are virtual and, keeping the climate and culture supported in the right ways. And so there's a lot of supports in our blog from amazing guest bloggers and members of our team. And so we are thrilled to have that as an outlet for you as well. We also have a number of free downloads that are coming, but a ton that are already up at teachbetter.com. So don't forget about those if you're looking for something that you need to download. That's a good starting point for you. And yesterday afternoon, I was so excited to see the Supporting a Virtual Classroom new course go up at teachbetteracademy.com. So as I'm blabbing on here, kind of giving you these updates, feel free to post any comments. We are live here for our daily drop-in in our private Facebook group to answer and brainstorm anything humanly possible for you. But I did want to mention the course publishing yesterday because the course was specifically thrown together for the situation that we found ourselves in. So I was more than happy to come up with this course. Really, I just tried to fill it with as many quick tips and kind of like direction to resources as possible. So a lot of the course is like listing out tools that you can be using to formative assess your students if you have access to technology. We went through a lot of different ways that you can provide new information to students rather than just a video. There's a lot of other avenues that you can kind of bring information to students. There's just a lot of almost like lists of tech tools and the way you can utilize them in that course. And it's a free course, by the way. So if you are not a part of our Teach Better Academy membership, where you can have access to all of our courses, this course is free. So even if you're not a member, you can get access to this. And what I tried to do, since it seems like every teacher in every district has different requirements, their states are requiring different things. And to be honest, a lot of districts are struggling with different timelines in which they are having school canceled. The course I tried to provide you outlets depending on where you want to focus and what your kind of initial focus is, kind of where you can go. So the course does reference other courses in our academy depending on what you want to focus on. For example, if you're an educator who is wanting to take this time to design really strategic and targeted assessments, because when you're communicating virtually, sometimes it's more challenging to kind of pinpoint what your students need. Your assessments can help you do that. So we kind of encourage you to go check out the assessment course. We have that DOK course. There's a whole lot. So I just want you to know that course was specifically designed to not only be quick for everybody, but to also give you a lot of different things to chew on so that you can design your own personal pathway for learning as a teacher. So I appreciate all of you that are commenting. We're gonna get to these comments, so fun. But I at least wanted to mention a lot of the things that our team has adjusted and will continue to do to support you. The only other thing I didn't mention was obviously we have #MasteryChat over on Twitter every single Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm sorry, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's in the evening, okay? And our hosts are changing their topics to bring in really relevant conversation to Twitter on Thursdays. So that will be every single week. And yeah, it's always a fun time to have Mastery Chat. So if you are just joining us, feel free to comment. I love seeing all the interaction and engagement we're having so far. We haven't even gotten to questioning yet, so that's awesome. All right, let's look at these. So I love that Adam's commenting. He's saying, so inspired by all the teachers working together to make this happen. It's so true. I have loved seeing the people that are sharing resources, the amazing educational companies, the tech tool companies that are providing their services for free. We on the team have been trying to share as much as possible when we see those resources, because we really do want to make sure our network is gaining access to all of the things going on, all the blogs, all the tools, all the resources that are being created to support students during this time. Caitlin is giving a shout out to our writing team, our guest bloggers, that they should have received an email from her last night to help them shift the content. I know we have a lot planned in that area. And she's also giving a shout out. I love this, Caitlin Giordano. If you are not connected to Caitlin, her email on the team is caitlin@teachbetter.com. She does such great things for our community, especially teachbetter.com runs a lot of our blog content. And she gave a shout out here that if you're interested in wanting to share to support educators, that you could reach out to her and hopefully get set up to blog with us. That's always an awesome place to get started working with our team. Oh, Dave Schmidt's in here. Dave Schmidt's an amazing person right now to connect with. He seems to be sharing content like every single minute, and he is an administrator, so his lens is so valuable to pop into. So I love seeing that Dave's posting. You rock. And Chelsea is commenting saying the tech tools and virtual learning course is super helpful. Oh, Chelsea, I'm so, first of all, honored that you said that, but also I'm impressed that you already took the course. We published the course yesterday around, I don't know, maybe 1 o'clock Central or 2 o'clock Central time. So I love that she's already dived into it. I know Mark Horn, who is a part of our PLN and actually an active part of our Instagram community, which we're also streaming on this morning, was posting last night that he was taking the course and getting a lot of value. So Chelsea, I'm so glad that you felt like the virtual learning course that we just published kind of gave you a lot of tools and direction in terms of what you're going to be exploring. And I love that Dave said designed by teachers for teachers. It's absolutely true. So as we continue to take questions for our daily drop-in happening every single morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in our private Facebook group, I do kind of want to ask a favor for all of you, if you don't mind. I'd love to hear what space you're in right now. I had a district institute day yesterday where I got information from my own district on how we plan to kind of handle the next 2 weeks, or for many states around the country, it's the next 6 weeks, the next 8 weeks. And so it seems like while information is changing as often as it's being communicated, I'd love to hear about at this point, kind of what's your school district doing to support students, or, are you out of school yet, or do you have students? Are you doing e-learning yet? Also communicate as distance learning. We could talk about kind of the differences between those conversations if you're interested, but this really is a space to try and have as many in-depth conversations to find you as much support as possible. But I would love to hear, I think everybody in our group, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of educators in our private group that are participating right now. What are, the situations you're in? How can we help kind of brainstorm the right solution for what you're doing? Bradley says, I love Mastery Chat, and that he's been very inspired by all the teachers coming together. So it's totally true. Nikki's commenting, saying that she's in Iowa. She has 4 weeks off as of now and no plan as of this morning. So Nikki, I think that that's kind of a really popular space to be in right now. And I say that because I'm in a very similar spot, except we're not at 4 weeks, we're at 2 weeks. So I am currently, I guess I should say this for those of you who don't know me, I am currently a full-time 6th grade math teacher in Illinois. And our schools right now are closed by the governor through March 30th. So currently students will not be back in the classroom until after the 30th of March. And there's not necessarily a plan right now for my school district in terms of e-learning and distance learning. We've had conversations, like the very early stages of conversation, but we will have Act of God days for the rest of the week. And then we had an already scheduled spring break the following week. So we're just kind of waiting. We're in a kind of a holding spot right now to kind of see how the next 2 weeks go, and then continuously find ways to support students afterwards, regardless of our situation. We did put together a cute little list for our students that we emailed out and shared on social media, just talking about ways for them to stay engaged, keep their mind active, think about all the creative things they could do at home, but none of that is like graded or required. We were just trying to kind of share with our family that we missed them and that we were here if they needed us, but just to continue to keep your brain active. So after that point, after the 30th, I hope that, I assume we'll get more information kind of on what we're doing as a district in my classroom. Additionally, in terms of my role with the Teach Better team, we've seen teachers doing a variety of things, which is actually why we wanted to host our daily drop-in early in the morning. This will air every single morning at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern, in a hope that if you are a teacher who is supporting an e-learning or distance learning environment where you're needing to be connected to your students in some way in the morning, that you could still pop in here, ask your questions, keep your mind fresh, kind of wake up while drinking your coffee, and then you would be able to like start your day in the right headspace to support your students in whatever capacity that's happening. So I think that's really a positive, and that is why, when we were trying to brainstorm ways to support our network, we wanted to be accessible, but we wanted to be accessible during a time that would be helpful. Us popping in at 10 o'clock if you need to be working with students isn't necessarily the best way to support teachers. So coming in the morning and hosting essentially a morning show equivalent of, offering support was kind of our hope. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and then I'm going to get to all these other awesome comments. I'm thrilled that teachers are sharing kind of what they're involved in right now. Awesome. Ooh, good coffee this morning, guys. I'm drinking a latte, just so you're aware. So Adam says, we had a planning discussion day, and now the building is locked down. Tomorrow we go live with our online learning. So Adam, good. So that means that you guys had conversations yesterday, and it looks like you're starting some sort of virtual learning starting tomorrow. I'd love to know, Adam, and I should know this, I so apologize. I don't remember what state you're in, and if you could tell me also kind of where you're at in terms of what's your headspace going on right now for your online learning? Do you feel like you are going to get right into content? Are you starting with first social and emotional elements? I know a lot of teachers are kicking off their first virtual learning day with kind of teaching their students, how do you do virtual learning? Kind of those procedures like we do in the very beginning phase of our classroom when the year kicks off every August. Versus other teachers who are using the grid method. If you already facilitated a self-paced mastery classroom, you may not feel like you're losing as much time needing to go through those procedures because they might look extremely similar to the way that your students were already taking ownership over their learning. So let me know kind of where you're at with that. I love all these comments. We're going to keep going through them. If you are listening to this after our recording, whether it be on the Teach Better Talk podcast, which will have daily episodes publishing, or if you're just watching this on our social media platforms linked to our YouTube account, don't forget that this is happening every single morning. So if you're not a part of our conversation right now, you can always choose to pop in the future simply by visiting teachbettergroup.com or joining our Facebook group by searching Teach Better Team in Facebook, and you can request to join, and if you're an educator, we'll take you. So Luke says, spring break, our admin is thankful that they can take the time to make it well thought decision. Absolutely, Luke. I think that's kind of the toughest part that I'm hearing, and it's actually a celebration I'd love to offer my current administration, that when we went in yesterday, my administrator, my principal, had a lot of ownership over how he could structure the day. And he really did structure it kind of in the same way your administration is right now, that he was trying to share his thankfulness that we had a strong building already. We're going to take some time to kind of see how things play out and just focus on kind of sharing positivity and love with our network, love with our staff, and just focus on, taking time to make a well thought out decision. And for the next week and a half to just, focus on people taking care of themselves. And I kind of like that your administration, because of the fact that you're on spring break right now while this is happening, kind of has that same permission to see how things go, communicate with families about how much we want them to stay safe, and kind of have some wiggle room for a decision. So that's really great. Adam's saying that he is out with 3 weeks. It says, and we're out 3 weeks with word it could be the year. Sure. So it seems like everybody around the country isn't quite sure how long they're out, but that 3 week marks give you some buffer room on supporting your students virtually, and hopefully taking some time for, teacher care and student care and all those other wonderful things. Caitlin Giordano's commenting that they are off until after break, which is April 6th for her. And obviously just communicating that she's not clear when necessarily they're going to go back, if they are going back April 6th. So that's true. Mark Heller is on here. Mark Heller, how are you? He's in Plano, Illinois. He said he's making a drive-through for breakfast and lunch with the kiddos in town. That is so fun. I love seeing all these comments. Brianna says her distance learning starts next week after spring break, and they have to meet Monday and Tuesday of the next week to learn the plan. So they're not sure kind of what they're up to. So Brianna, that absolutely makes sense. I think that's pretty common right now, where a lot of teachers are hearing about distance learning, hearing about e-learning, but not quite sure where their district standpoint is yet. They may not be implementing it yet. That makes a lot of sense, especially for, it seems like, the Midwest community. I do have to say, guys, I think that these daily drop-ins are going to be beneficial, because my hope is that as you get more information, whether it be today, tomorrow, or weeks from now, we can offer an outlet to talk through those things. Because sometimes we sit in staff meetings, or for right now, I guess they'd be virtual staff meetings, or reading our email, and we get information, and it can be overwhelming to process. And while it's always good to process with your colleagues that you work with in your district, and your administration and all those things in between, this group has always, from the very beginning, acted as an outlet for those teachers who not only wanted to do well for students, but wanted to do better for students. And so this is a really good space, after you start getting those details, which may not be coming right away, to say, okay, Ray, we have some information. This is how we're rolling out support for our students. How do I still ensure that I can offer best practice data supported strategies to my students when we have every roadblock stopping us? Because this group is really full of educators who don't let things that are scary, risk, all these things that kind of come as hurdles or roadblocks. We don't let those stop us from giving strong instruction to our students to be able to support the needs that they have. And often a lot of classrooms, 34 students needing 34 different things. And those rotate every hour, depending on if you're in middle school and high school. So I really love that while we're still being open to the things that we're trying to get communicated to us, we may not have all the information. This really is a great spot that when those details come up, we do want to be here to support all that you're exploring, which is super important. So Bradley says, we've been given choice boards for students. The choice boards put them together and made them, the CO put them together and made them available. I look forward to doing some online teaching. Our district is not fully internet ready. We have lots of rural schools. So Bradley, that is a reality for so many educators right now, having discussions about equity through an e-learning or distance learning process. We touched on it a little bit during our Institute Day yesterday that we had in my own district, but it's a huge conversation right now. I would suggest, and I know this is kind of silly because I'm so confident a lot of you are already doing this, is there really is some benefit right now to exploring the amazing organizations, the amazing businesses that are giving away things for free. So for example, I know Comcast and there's an internet company with an S that I was just reading about yesterday. They're giving away free internet to all families. Now, obviously, that is not a immediate solution because there's a lot of moving pieces to communicating that, getting that set up, looking at contracts to make sure that it's supportive for those families that are registering for those supports. But that is an option that if you're looking to communicate something right now to families, it's kind of nice to be able to communicate that there are free options to stay connected, communicate with schools, communicate with teachers, have internet connection, continue their learning. So while that doesn't solve everything, if you're not doing e-learning right now and you kind of have the day off, maybe take 15 minutes and Google some programs because there's a lot of them giving things away for free right now. It seems to be endless. So some of the ones I've specifically even been on the phone with recently has been Nearpod, Pear Deck, Zoom. There's a lot of internet companies giving things away for free. I kind of feel like everybody's giving everything away. So, I just think that that's something to consider as you continue to dabble with supports. And I'm sorry, I know there's a lot of comments I'm not getting to right now, but no matter where you are in education, if you have access to technology, there's a lot of tech tools for you. And if you don't have access to technology, there might be some ways for you to get access simply because people are giving so much away for free in hopes to support students, which is so wonderful to see kind of people come together to do this. So awesome. All right, Tamara. Hey, Tamara, good to see you. It says she is in Central VA, out for 2 weeks. Content creation yesterday and today. Our challenge is providing resources with an equity lens for those students that internet access. Tamara, I couldn't agree more. I think that needs to be the topic of conversation right now, because I think that educators and school districts and governing leaders are thinking about kind of what can we do in 3 weeks, what can we do in 2 weeks, what can we do in 8 weeks, when in reality, none of those things can be done if we don't start the conversation right now about equity. And so I love that kind of continues to be a lens that you're looking through and hopefully your colleagues are looking through moving forward. Joe says in West Virginia, teachers go back Thursday and Friday to provide distance learning support for students. We are out until the 27th and then figure out what happens next. So great sharing that, Joe. Penny says 3 weeks off so far, one of those being spring break. We are back April 6th. So far, paper packets due to equity issues, not the best situation or solution, but the best we could do at the very moment. We'll possibly go virtual if possible. Yeah, absolutely. Maggie says Ohio's off for 3 weeks, but could be more. Teachers that have been out of the building have to be out of the buildings by 2 p.m. tomorrow. Yeah, Maggie, just from my own district, we had to be out of the building yesterday. We're actually not able to go back at all. So I understand it's kind of sad to walk out of your classroom and not know when you're going to be back. I think a lot of our students are feeling that way. A lot of our families are feeling that way. So it's trying to find ways to stay connected. I know this is silly, and don't lick any envelopes, but one of the things that our team is doing just right off the bat, because of that, initial sadness that's kind of going around in our communities, a lot of these unknown, is we made labels for all of our students. And we're going to make sure we're sending postcards to all of our kids within the next week or so, just to share that we miss them and that we love them, and information will be coming. And I know that unfortunately, some of those letters won't make it, and maybe they won't read them, but it really is important for our team of teachers that I work with to just try and have some contact with students. So, whether it be posting on Instagram, because we know some of our students are there, or sending an email out to all of our families with some helpful tips and tricks. We thought a little handwritten note would be kind of fun. So we're excited to do that. Nikki says that they're out for 4 weeks. They're not quite sure anything past that. Jessica says we're off till April 10th. And that they're e-learning currently until Thursday, and then going to try and make a decision after that. A lot of common conversation with everybody here. Andrea says she's late. Andrea, you're not late. We're so glad you're here. Mark says, so proud of how quickly my teachers came together to provide resources for learning opportunities for our students. Love hearing their stories about how kids have reached out to teachers as well. It's so fun. I loved getting some emails from my kids just being like, we miss you and we want to, get more information, and it's just so fun to see. Caitlin says, our expectations for e-learning are nothing right now, but I'm sending videos and such home to students just to kind of keep their minds clear. I love that. Maggie says the same, no distance learning required at this point. We just need students to stay engaged with learning somehow at home. So that can be by giving suggestions to students in a lot of different ways. To be honest, I would love to provide 1 million of them right now, but there are so many resources. That seems to be the main thing being shared right now, at least in my bubble, that I'm trying to also share with the people connected to myself and the team directly, are suggestions for students to stay active in their learning that aren't graded, they're not required, but just, you're at home alone, possibly with your 3 other siblings. What are some goofy things, some fun things you can do? And I know a lot of that I've shared on my own personal Facebook account, Twitter, and Instagram, but also trying to share those in groups, whether it be take a 15-minute walk and journal about it, or, little things like that to try and keep people kind of like with their mind thinking. That's all going to happen after everyone watches Frozen 2 on Disney Plus that just was released yesterday, but hey, no judgment here. I love all these comments. I'm sorry. I'm going too slowly. You guys are filling up my inbox here. Remember, if you are watching this after our recording, we are going to do this every single morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for our Teach Better Team daily drop-in. So join our Facebook group to participate live and be a part of these comments and collaboration as we move forward. If you are listening to us right now on the Teach Better Talk podcast, don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, subscribe, because then you'll be able to get these episodes every single day after we finish our morning drop-in, which is so fun. Daily morning drop-in. I know. Sorry, I'm going to get that wrong. Joe is saying, I planned some light work for students because I do not want to bombard them with work. Absolutely. Joe, I think that's a main kind of like part of the conversation I'm not sure teachers are quite having yet, unless they're currently doing e-learning. So I do want to mention it as food for thought, no matter where you are in this process. Don't start right away introducing new content. This is an opinion. I just want you to know this is so new for everyone. And this kind of goes back to things that we talk about in this group all the time, where teachers hear these new ideas. We chew on them for multiple days and weeks on end, in making large shifts in our classroom. A lot of this when we talk about like facilitating a self-paced classroom or a mastery-focused classroom. And it's a massive shift to be able to go from a traditional setting to this like very innovative, personalized classroom for a lot of educators. And yet we bring this to our students with a dumpster load of information, and they struggle because they haven't had the same time to chew on these ideas, process, ask questions. And the same goes for our students and our stakeholders. And so as teachers, for the last, almost the last week now, scrambling, chewing on these ideas. How do I support my students? What are the resources I need? We're taking courses at Teach Better Academy, trying to find the solutions. We're searching the internet. We're signing up for every tech tool on the planet. We are doing our due diligence to get ready. But our students, our stakeholders, they are scared, and they don't have the same, how do you phrase this? They don't have the same accountability in doing that. They're relying on us to communicate, and we are trying to rely on our network to find the solutions. So we really need to allow our students and our stakeholders time to learn and process these new initiatives that we're now working on, like e-learning, distance learning, whatever vocab word you're using right now. So it's so important that we start the first few days with targets, using best practice, using Webb's depth of knowledge, using these backwards design, wanting to use these data-supported strategies we know is best for students, but do it in a way that allows students to maybe do a review activity and content that they've already learned, or focus on maybe more social and emotional skills, and give them time to process and kind of dabble with these new things before we dive in right away with new content and student ownership and accountability. because we really do need to be instructional leaders, not just of our content, but of that whole child, with our whole stakeholders. So just something to consider. I know, Joe, you're kind of emphasizing that, and I couldn't agree more with you that we're not looking to bombard students with information. There's so many reasons why that can be detrimental early on. So just something to consider. Guys, I have 100 comments that Facebook is showing me I am not responding to yet, so I'm so sorry. I'm doing my best. I'm like blabbing on, trying to drink my coffee unsuccessfully, and I love this interaction. So if I do not get to your comment, I just want you to know I appreciate you because there are so many good discussion points here. Chelsea is saying that they are out for 3 weeks. Their district is 1-to-1, but they're still kind of looking at what challenges and what changes come with e-learning in the future. That's absolutely true. Chelsea, I think you and I are in a similar boat. I currently work in a district that's 1-to-1 as well. So we do have access to technology, but that's not actually the only hurdle. You know, like I work with a population that has a major socioeconomic gap. We have students right now that might have access to technology, but they're also acting as parents. They could be, you know, taking care of their family. They have working parents during this time. So 1-to-1 is a huge hurdle that actually my students don't necessarily have to deal with. We've already overcome that element, but the idea of equity is really also in the air where parents are stressed, and depending on the situation, our students are taking on parental roles at home. And so I'm so glad that you and I kind of have that in common, that students have access to 1-to-1, but now we need to kind of help them in supporting the atmosphere in which they live, which I know that we're all going to be doing our best with. Maggie says, still trying to stay connected with students through Google Classroom, Flipgrid, Class Dojo. Love that, Maggie. I tried to give as many resources as humanly possible, and I think that you kind of hit on a few of them that I commented on in the course that we just released at teachbetteracademy.com. Maggie, I don't know if this would be helpful. It looks like you already have a lot of options. If you sign up for the free course that we just launched, which is called Supporting a Virtual Classroom, even if you don't go through all the modules and get the certificate and the badge at the end, there's a download packet, and that download packet has 1 or 2 or 3, I want to say it's like 2 or 3 pages of tips and tricks depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So for example, if you're trying to find a tool to push out information to students, for example, I gave you like 5 or 6 to consider. If you're trying to find a tool to formative assess students, I gave you like 5 or 6 to consider. Obviously, these are not the only tools. There are so many tools that you should be utilizing if you have access to technology and you're trying to kind of think ahead and be strategic. But it was kind of nice to kind of have that starting point, because I kid you not, I don't mean to like joke. I seriously mean, if you go to that list and you Google tech tools similar to, and then insert a tech tool there, you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of educational groups that have similar programs that might better fit your students' needs. And that kind of goes back to using the effective tech integration course that we have at Teach Better Academy, where it kind of dives into like the SAMR model and how you can evaluate technology, how you can evaluate a tech tool, not just by us recommending it to you, but how you can use a very strategic lens to decide if it's the right tool for you. And so that's a separate course at Teach Better Academy. But I think that there's an important element here where, rather than giving you the fish, right, rather than handing you the tech tool, we want to teach you how to fish. We want to be able to say there's a lot of options, so we'd rather teach you how to evaluate the right option for you, rather than give you 5 fish and hope that you are well fed, but then you come back to us after and say, but I need more. And so that's kind of the approach that the team takes as a whole. You'll notice that the Teach Better team, and I'm on a soapbox right now, I apologize, but the Teach Better team doesn't necessarily design curriculum. We try to give you a framework. We try to give you support to become a stronger educator, right? So that you can evaluate tech tools, you can evaluate ways to support students based on these data supported practices that we are here to help you with. And so that's why I kind of liked the virtual course we just released, because it does give you kind of a starting point. It does say, hey, here's 5 or 6 or 9 or 10 options, but don't forget, these are not the only options. These options could be outdated in 2 months from now. So we also want to teach you how to find the best options for you as well. So anyway, something to consider. I love all these comments. I'm going to try and scroll through as much as possible. I see a lot of people agreeing with the conversation so far. I love that we have both teachers and administrators in here kind of supporting each other. These are great conversation. Candace is posting in here. Candace, so nice when I'm live and I see you in here. You're always so active in this group. She says, my next grid is up, and I've noticed some students are already digging in. I gave all students my email if they needed any support. I had a conversation yesterday with one student who is scared, very anxious, and just, I'm sorry, I lost this comment, and just not sure how to process all of this. How am I supposed to help students through all of these emotions at a distance? So Candace, I think that you bring up a point that we mentioned earlier, but something that I could not believe in more wholeheartedly. So I'm so glad that you brought this back up. Yes, it is so wonderful, especially for those teachers using the grid method mastery framework. Your students are probably seeing that information and getting actually some comfort in, oh, I already know how to do this. My teacher set up a framework for me where actually I can still explore new content. And to be honest, they can also still have a lot of interaction with their peers virtually, because if you're using the grid method and incorporating tech tools, if you have that capability in your district, this is probably a lot of kind of like ease for them, that they're like, oh, I can keep learning. Oh, I know how to do this, whatever. But like we said earlier, you are really going to want to kind of focus on the emotional health of our students as quickly as possible, because while new content may not be scary to them because they already know how to do that in your classroom, and they can feel some comfort being able to do it at home, we also, a lot of us need to start off in these early stages, whether our district knows how they're moving forward or not, finding ways to reach out to our students and just share that we care for them, we're here for them, and give them some, easy things they can do to stay engaged and keep their mind thinking. Like I said, our team is sending handwritten notes to families in the mail just for fun. Just everyone loves getting mail. I love getting mail. Like, that's actually like a total love that I have. I love getting messages and cards and notes, and it's like some of my favorite things. So we're gonna try and share that same thing with our families. Also, being able to provide them with a checklist like we did yesterday, provide them a checklist of things they can do at home to keep their brain active, and also things they could be doing with their siblings. There are so many amazing parents out there that are finding supports and fun activities for toddlers and young aged children, but our students might be acting as parents right now. They may not have those tools. So what are some cool, easy STEM challenges that they can do with a paper towel roll at home? And what are some easy things they could go do outside, or keep a journal? I feel like a lot of teachers come from families that already have these supports in place, but if they're not in a family that necessarily thinks of these fun and creative things to do with their kiddos, how can we provide that for them? What are some easy, fun things we can go challenge them to do? So I really loved kind of seeing those shared. They're all over. If you're friends with me on Facebook, I know I've been sharing a lot of them, but there's so much out there. Oh my gosh, so many comments so far. I love all this interaction. We have a lot of people talking about, I'm sorry, see, I'm still on the internet up here. You know that I'm behind when the comments I'm reading about are about the free internet. That seems like an hour ago that we were talking about that. Oi, you can just keep commenting if it's like, Ray, you're so far behind. You can't even keep up. Oh, I have to give a shout out to Mark Heller, who just commented, what are you reading this week? That's a great thing. If you aren't in a place right now where you're being required to do e-learning or distance learning, you do kind of have a special set of circumstances right now giving you permission to work on yourself. That was actually one of the first conversations we had on the Teach Better team, is not only how we can support you in coping with the right here and now in your classroom, but also like this is kind of a gift. If you have a few hours in your life that you didn't think that you were going to have 2 weeks ago, then how can you use that to come back stronger as an educator? And I know that I don't mean to like challenge you to do more, but how can we use today to come back stronger for our students when we get to go back to the classroom? If all of this blows over and we end up back in our classroom in 2 weeks, will you be a stronger, better educator? Will you be able to reach your students better than you ever thought possible? Will you have more things in your brain as food for thought? Will you have a better perspective on where students are coming from because of this instance? And if the answer is yes, then I think that's a blessing. So if we can find ways to like this comment right here, what are you reading this week? What book can you go pick up? Whether you're ordering it on Amazon or you're kind of getting it on a Kindle or whatever, what book can you be reading? What virtual learning course are you going to go take, whether it be at teachbetteracademy.com or, oh my gosh, like anywhere else that's supporting that? What tech tool do you not use right now that's giving away a free promotion that you can go just explore? I mean, it seems silly, but I don't use Nearpod like I should. I know Nearpod is a cool tool. I know that they literally push out hundreds of content supports for teachers. And I have honestly, and I'm so sorry to admit this, Nearpod, I love you, but I've not done my due diligence in exploring the amazing content that they have. And so for right now, like I'm gonna go sign up for Nearpod. And I know it's silly because if you're a Teach Better conference 2019, we gave Nearpod away for free. So I know a lot of people have access. I know I have access. And right now it's free. So if you forgot to sign up for it, well, guess what? This is a good time. But I'm going to go explore like tech tools that I always used to say I didn't have time to figure out, because how cool is that to go look at something? Megan says she signed up for Zoom. I love that. People are commenting about how they really want to wrap their head around this as for themselves, but wrap their head around this for students. Mark is saying that he's currently a principal in Illinois, and he's really struggling walking into his building with no students in it, and that the bells are going off, and it just seems odd to not have the hallways filled. We really need to take care of ourselves throughout this. This is very strange for our students, strange for our stakeholders, but that's kind of why we wanted to do this daily drop-in, is because it's also a strain on us. So us coming together, looking, oh my gosh, look at all these people who are live with us right now, and the hundreds and thousands of people who are going to listen to this afterwards, either on the Teach Better Talk podcast or watching it on YouTube or social media. This is a great place to just come together and talk. Adam is sharing some great blogs. It's so wonderful. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to go through these comments. You have no idea how, I have 111 comments I've not read right now. I'm going to be in so much trouble. Perfect. A lot of people just communicating that they don't know what they have planned, but they want to make sure that they're providing the best support possible for students. And a lot of those conversations right now are focusing on supporting students' social and emotional health, which I think is really important. I'm going to skip a lot of these. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try and get more to like where we are at this point, because I know a lot of the comments I'm reading right now were comments that were even made like a half an hour ago in our live video. So I'm so sorry to be skipping some of these. I'm so confident they are important. Okay, so Caitlin just posted, I came across, it said, one thing completely non-curricular I did that was helpful was send an email, and she says, and a video. By the way, if you are somebody who wants to communicate with your students via email, but also with a video element, we have a ton of blogs on that. That's something that our team loves doing for families. I know Caitlin does it a lot. Is that she did that for families, and she was nervous and uncertain, but really loved being able to kind of share that with families. Ask them how things are going, say hello, and kind of acknowledge that it's a weird time, but we're kind of doing it together. I think that's something that can be extremely beneficial right now, is to remind our families that even though things are unpredictable, that we're kind of all in this space. So if we can kind of unite, that there can be a lot of power in that. Chelsea's saying, I'm hoping that this will allow the community to realize how important our job is and how much more we provide our students. Yeah, Chelsea, I saw that comment yesterday from someone on Facebook, and it was, again, it was kind of a dramatic statement about this, but essentially the post was, everyone's very worried about how students are going to learn, eat, be emotionally supported, have the care that they need. And they were hoping, in this post, the person was hoping that with that conversation, it then sparked how valuable teachers are and how valuable the education system is that we actually, support all those elements of the student. So I think this will be eye-opening in a lot of ways. I think this also will progress education more quickly. I would argue that most districts looking into e-learning and distance learning, a lot of them have only looked into it either for the past year or two, or this is like a brand new conversation that they're having right now. And a lot of those districts may not have taken the opportunity to look into that seriously for a very, very, very long time. And now they're at least challenged to look into it sooner rather than later. So while it may not be an equitable option, and while there may be a lot of challenges, the conversations happening now around supporting students in that capacity will at least be a valuable conversation for people to be having. And I will update you right now that this is saying I have 95 new comments. So holy moly, I'm so sorry. All right. A lot of people are commenting now about tech tools. I assume that that's because there was a lot of comments about kind of ways to reach out to students. Andrew is saying, on a positive note, yes, Ray, I love that I can read more and spend time with my baby. Yes, Andrea is part of the Teach Better team. She's actually an educator that I've connected with numerous times in person as well. And she has baby Luke. And hello, Andrea. You get to spend some time with baby Luke. I'm super jealous. There was a great photo that you posted yesterday of baby Luke looking like he might be helping you work. And I'm not sure that he was very helpful, but it was a very cute photo, I can tell you that. I sent a letter of office hours in which I'll be online. Perfect. So that's a great way. I know a lot of people are looking at Zoom conferencing or Google Hangout conferencing with students. I've seen a lot of posts about teachers doing that. Doing some sort of office hours makes a lot of sense. Your district might actually require that of you. So depending on where you're at, that might be something that your district will require in the future, or it could be something that you offer. At this point, depending on what your district's requiring, I would really encourage you not to stress so much about trying to be accessible and online all the time. Being accessible could be just being accessible via email. But I do think that your students are going to value kind of like seeing your face and hearing from you. So I know a few teachers I interacted with yesterday are hosting a Zoom meeting for their students just to say hi. No agenda, just to pop in, goof off, say hi. If you're worried about safety, I know that does need to be a conversation that districts are having. A lot of districts are recording their Zoom calls right now just to, have the conversation around how we keep everyone safe when they're communicating virtually. And the other thing is that's a great time to have some of the conversations around how you learn virtually, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate in terms of, having a dress code. Just because you're meeting virtually doesn't mean that you shouldn't be just sharing yourself in a way that you would at school. And so these are also like great things to think about slowly and surely as we dive into some of these conversations. Natalie's asking what hours you set. Perfect. So these are great conversations as well. Jody's on here. Good morning. How are you, Jody? It's great to see you. I'd love to hear about what you are doing specifically for your families, Jody. You have a great role where you support students and families constantly. And I know that Amazing Shake was canceled. I was following the Galesburg Amazing Shake before it was canceled, but I know you do amazing work, so it's great to see you in here. Mark is commenting, how much caffeine is in the latte? Mark, I've not even gotten to drink it yet. Can you even see? Like, it's not even in there. There's a full appropriate cafe latte amount. This is a vanilla latte that I made at my house. I have a really cool machine, so it tastes delicious. And to be honest, Mark, as you're giving me some attitude, I'm not able to drink it nearly as much as I would like because I'm talking to you, but maybe that means I'm talking too fast. Is that what you're being critical of right now? I'm talking too fast. Let's preface this, family. I'm sitting alone in my house right now doing a daily drop-in, which I love, and I have a million comments. Y'all are commenting. It is overwhelming. I'm sweating. I need to take a drink of my coffee. I'm going to have a moment of silence after this so that I don't have to hear my voice, since I've been live with all of you for 55 minutes, just hearing my voice talking. Do you know how tough that is for me, Mark? Huh? All right. We have had a lot of comments so far. Caitlin's commenting saying, Ray, your energy makes me happy, mainly because I feel less strange with my own energy. Yeah, Caitlin Giordano is a ball of energy, so I hope this makes you feel normal. Amanda's commenting saying connecting with others is so exciting. Mark, he's giving a correction. He doesn't want to be in trouble. He's saying, no, Ray, you're awesome, firing me up to learn some new things. Good. That's what we want. So I kind of want to give a recap before we end our daily drop-in from the Teach Better team. Remember that this is happening every single morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from now until forever, until we end. We just want to be here as accessible as possible for everybody who is still processing all that is going on in the world, but also processing how we can continue to support our students and also continue to support our teachers who are feeling stress during this time in wanting to not only take care of themselves and their own families, but really the family that we have in our schools, which includes our students, our colleagues, and our stakeholders. So we really are here to try and be as accessible as possible to answer questions as information comes about. I know that it seems like information is changing every hour, and the situation is becoming more and more serious as we move forward, and we don't want you to feel like you are doing this alone. The gift that we have of our private Facebook group, of our podcast, Teach Better Talk podcast, of being able to have access to YouTube videos, these are all supports that we are able to provide because of the community that we built. We want to just continue to strengthen that community so that we don't become isolated and that we're able to give our best selves to not only each other, but to really our students who we really serve. So if you are new to the Teach Better family, do not forget that we have daily blogs and podcasts that are publishing daily over at teachbetter.com. A lot of different topics. We would encourage you to share your story and become a blogger by connecting with Caitlin. Her email is caitlin@teachbetter.com, and you can continue to support there. Additionally, we are also have brand new courses coming to teachbetteracademy.com, and we have free downloads that you are always welcome to dive into. We just want to make sure that we are here to support you as much as possible throughout this time. So do not miss Mastery Chat this week because it's, I think, Michael Earnshaw, and he is so awesome. He is a principal, and as much as he is going to be an awesome host, he'll even be an even better host during this time because I know he'll be bringing his A game supporting Mastery Chat this week to have some authentic conversations around what we can do to support our families. So that will be coming on Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday nights for Mastery Chat. And of course, we'll be here every single morning at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern to support our daily drop-in from the Teach Better team. So Jody's comment, I'm great, thank you. I'm still figuring this out right now. Sending daily messages, photos, and videos. I'll be doing IEP meetings via Zoom this week as well. Yes, I know a lot of special education support teachers are trying to find ways to continue with IEP meetings. From the last I heard, a lot of people were waiting for their state board of education to kind of provide the requirements for that. So Jody, I'd actually love to hear more if you have some updated information on IEP requirements. I know it's been a very hot topic for a lot of educators. So even if we don't chat right now, like chat at some point, I'd love to kind of hear what you're using for that. Candace said, you need to have two of you doing this drop-in so you have more time to drink your coffee. You're right. Jeff and Chad went live together yesterday. Tomorrow, I will have Megan with me, I think. So Megan and I will be doing the daily drop-in. So that will kind of allow us to kind of do some fun stuff there. And then additionally, Instagram just popped us off. I'm trying to share that story. Additionally, the following day, I think Dave Schmidt's joining me. So we will have 2 people, but today was just me. Veronica's commenting with what she decided for office hours. And again, we're trying to be flexible. Those might change. So fun. And there's just so many good things you guys are sharing. So I'm going to pop off. Thank you for all that you do. Our team is here to support you. Do not forget, by the way, because I am a total failure that I didn't respond to this earlier, we do have our Teaching on an Island PD series that was scheduled all through March. That is still going on. So while I will be here tomorrow for our daily drop-in with Megan, I'll also be here tomorrow night for our Teaching on an Island series. I think it's our 4th session. I'll be coming live with Jennifer Apple, and we'll be continuing that Teaching on an Island series. So if you're wanting to be a part of that conversation, this private group is trying to act as the hub of professional learning for educators to come together and continue having conversations. So whether you're listening live with us right now or you're listening on the Teach Better Talk podcast, I hope you choose to come join our Facebook group so you can pop into kind of all these experiences that we're trying to offer to support teachers in a variety of ways and continue to have those authentic conversations. So thank you for all that you do, and we really appreciate you, and we are wishing you luck. Please take this time to take care of yourself and let us know what you need, because if we don't have it, we're going to find somebody who does to get it to you. So thank you for all that you do, and stay safe.